saying as well, about sort of trying to put something together quickly and easily, rather than trying to do the Rolls-Royce solution.
Some great advice there, and I will back a lot of that. The go fast and get it in front of customers, potential customers, get feedback early, I think is my biggest do. So if it has to be scrappy, if you have to buy something in just to build out a product, just do that, just to get velocity, get feedback, pivot, move based on that feedback, and then you'll navigate yourself to product market fit. I would say, so one thing I see with a lot of founders, and this is not as you found the businesses as it starts to scale a little bit, is once they start to build teams out, they're still trying to do absolutely everything themselves, and being able to effectively delegate to your team, because as another person on the call said, you got to hire great people that you trust to get the job done, and so as a founder you then become more able then to focus on the business and the other key elements where your founder power is really needed.
That is amazing, team. Thank you very much to all 5 of you. We've got some good news. We are now live, and I believe on all the platforms that we want to be. That is LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter/X. So a quick reminder and a reset of the conversation. We're here for Startup Product and Tech Q&A. It's our 175th session. We've had about 290,000 people tune into these sessions in the last 4.5 years, and none of that would have happened without people like Mary, Adrian, Martin, Redian, and Tom. So if you panelists would like to drop your LinkedIn in the chat and maybe a couple of words about what you're about in terms of startup product and tech, please feel free to do so. The least we can do is follow you on LinkedIn. In terms of what we're doing today, we're taking questions for the next 37 minutes on anything related to your product and tech, whether you want to know about your product roadmap, your design, your prototype, your testing, your tech debt, your full stack, your apps, your landing pages. Did I mention prototype, launching your MVP, and anything else in between or beyond for that matter? There are no wrong questions and no need to be shy. It's a learning curve for us all. After this, we will then resume with our next product and tech Q&A on the 13th of January, 2026. In the meantime, you may also want to join our community on Facebook. We've got a group especially for product and tech in startups. And if your questions today are not on product and tech, please save them for the rest of the sessions we have. So in general, we have Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, Thursday's fundraising, second Friday of each month is UK startup law, and third Friday of each month is UK startup finances. But obviously, this being our last week, we only have then tomorrow growth, Thursday fundraising, and Friday financial. For those of you on the live streams, whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter/X, please be aware that unfortunately we are unable to monitor your questions there live. So if you do have any questions for us, you'll have to join us here on Microsoft Teams. It's audio only, which means you can tune in from anywhere via any platform or device. And it doesn't matter whether you're walking your dog in Surrey or cooking lunch in Liverpool or having lunch in Glasgow or working from a shared office in Shoreditch, or perhaps, I don't know, changing baby nappies in Bristol. It doesn't matter where you are. It's easy to tune in via any platform or device. Quickest way to do that is to go onto our website, startuptoscaleup.club. Again, the website, it's startuptoscaleup.club. You scroll down a little bit, you'll find today's session, which is Startup Product and Tech Q&A 175. You click join. It's a quick registration on Luma. There you'll find today's link for Microsoft Teams. Once you're here, then simply drop your question in the chat. We'll give you the mic, you introduce yourself, and then fire away with whatever questions you have. We're now going to go on to the first question, and especially since we've got 5 people today, this is very important for the panelists. Let's please be concise and not go more than 1 minute each. I know it's easier said than done, especially for people like myself that talk on for England, but let's go on to the first question. I'm the founder of a community-based shopping app in Manchester that supports local businesses. I'm struggling to narrow down my MVP to just the essentials, as every feature feels crucial. What frameworks or decision-making processes can help me refine my MVP scope to deliver maximum impact on launch? So we can start perhaps with Adrian, and then Mary, then Redian, then Martin, and last but not least, Tom. And if we can keep it to a minute each, please, team.
Okay, yes, so I mean, this is always a thing to struggle with. Founders usually have lots of ideas and focus is the problem. I would say one of the ways of approaching this is to methodically write down all your features and categorize them so that you can see them on a piece of paper or on a spreadsheet, and then start to look at what they bring to the customer's journey. So how valuable are they? And what do they bring to the customer and to you? So are they crucial for some part of the journey, or are they a nice to have? Think a little bit about how much they're costing to develop or deliver. Are they a pain? Are they easy? And things like that. So that over time, you build out a clear picture in your head of what all the features are, what their pros and cons are, and what their kind of overhead is. And that, to me, really is the only way to be disciplined about features. You can also look at how the features might develop over time as well. So look at how much time and effort that's going to take. And then you can start to prioritize. And finally, talk to customers as well to find out what they think.
I would use so I'd agree with all of that. And one model that I found very useful that encompasses some of the advice you just heard is the Kano model, which is basically helping you figure out what are the must-haves, the basic needs of a problem, what are the things that are going to surprise and delight people, and what are the things that are just going to make them less dissatisfied, and making sure that you have a mix of those satisfiers, so you're you've got something for people to talk about, as well as meeting the basic needs is important.
That's brilliant. Mary, can I ask you a favor, please? Would you mind if you can find an article somewhere about that model?
I've already put the Wikipedia one in the chat.
Perfect. And would it be okay if you do that online on our LinkedIn instead? So if you look at LinkedIn, the last person that tagged you, I'm sure it's me, and on that
Sure,
live stream,
I'll copy
because
paste it in there.
Perfect. It seems most people tend to refer to those LinkedIn ones. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you very much for that. I think we said Diane, then Martin, then Tom.
Not sure there's a framework that I would be able to advise, but I would definitely advise the founder to go and speak very closely to his target audience, get some user research, some interviews in, and try and distill, the problem that he's trying to fix, and maybe figure out if he, based on those interviews and the insights that he or she will be getting from their user research, I'll try and see if there's a way to prioritize based on effort and impact. Generally speaking, you'd want to go after the low effort and high impact items first, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I would encourage a lot of time with his target audience, and create those lists of features, that functionalities that he wants to incorporate in his product, their product, and not try and build everything for everyone. Try and be as specific as possible, ideally, and that will help build a usable product that people might be willing to pay for. That's it from me. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I would, for the problem that they've got, I would try the RICE scoring, which is reach, impact, confidence, and effort. Really very similar to what other people on the call have already been saying, is get your features down, look at the potential impact to your customers, and you do that by talking to your customers, understanding what they want, understanding the problem you're trying to solve. It can be that with all these features you can think they're all important, but once you start to get them down, start to put some critical thinking on it, a pattern will emerge. There'll be certain user journeys that become critical and therefore require certain features. So I would go that way. RICE scoring is quite an easy way to do it. The Kano model as well, also perfectly sensible. So that's where I would go.
Yeah, I was going to say something quite similar, which was just, yeah, the Kano model works really well, but I think it's also in the early stages important to overlay it with an understanding of the effort that's going into the building of each feature. If you're you're looking at the kind of getting a mix of those pillars and how you're going to excite your customers, or how you're going to serve their basic needs. Make sure when you're choosing the routes you want to go down, each of those, and which user journeys you want to explore to serve those needs, just make sure you have a real understanding of the effort going into those, and ideally choosing those ones which are lower effort. I think the other thing I wanted to say quickly on this was, I'm maybe reading between the lines a little bit here, but it does feel like this founder is kind of using the MVP as their kind of jumping off point, which from a functioning product perspective makes sense, and obviously is the natural progression. But I do think if they're still having these thoughts kind of and having these debates kind of themselves internally, they probably do need to take a step back. And there is usually a phase before the launching of MVP, which would be to get something visual in front of your prospective users, and using AI tools like Replit and Lovable, you can put together prototypes which can give a mock-up of your proposed user journeys with not too much effort. You'll probably struggle if you're non-technical to get that into a working product, but in terms of just it being a prototype to begin with, get some of your potential customers, potential users to run through those journeys and see where they're getting the value. Try and validate that firsthand before launching your MVP even. So that would be my advice.
Well, thank you very much to all five of you. Really appreciate that. We'll now go on to another question that was sent in to us. Again, I'm finding these a bit shorter than normal. But nevertheless, I'll read this out loud for the live streams, and obviously the panelists can refer to it in the chat, because I've just posted the question in the chat. So he says, I'm the Techia co-founder for B2B SaaS platform in Edinburgh for manager and employee benefits. Our clients found our dashboard complicated and confusing. Could you share advice on creating a UX that simplifies the dashboard experience while still offering the depth of data our users need? Radian, I believe you built an ATS not too long ago, so maybe you can start on that. Then we can go to Martin, then Tom, then Mary, and last but not least, Adrian, please. And let's keep it a minute each, please, team.
Yeah, dashboards are tricky. In the past, we've never managed to get it right on our first try. Building the right dashboards has always been an iterative process for us. We start with something, and then we follow sort of the where the data or the information, what the most important information that requires or that could be conveyed visually straight up to the stakeholders. So I would say don't worry for making a complex dashboard to start with, because personally we've always done it. But what's important is to try and figure out, you know, what's working and what's not really adding much value to stakeholders. So you need to speak to them very closely. You need to try and understand their pain points and why do they think their customer, why do they think that the dashboard is complicated, and see if they can simplify things or figure smart ways of displaying and conveying the message that the data is telling to the interested parties. It's very important when you build an application that evolves in time. It's important for you to think as you add things to it. It's very important to think about what can be removed as well, because we often find ourselves very eager and keen to add a lot of widgets, a lot of new sort of graphs and bar charts and whatnots on your dashboards without thinking that what can be taken away from. So I would suggest for them to, as they add, or even if they don't add anything, maybe to ask the question of what is it that can be removed to make things simpler. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, dashboards. It's a perennial thing with SaaS platforms. How much, how, when you do it. I mean, I would start. It sounds like they've got one that's very rich in data, but maybe too rich for a lot of their users, which is basically their key issue. I would look at your persona of your users and look to then have dashboards targeted specifically at those personas, and really just strip out a lot of data that's not relevant to those people. So you just have more of either a hierarchical view or a persona view of your dashboard, and then just keep it as simple as possible for the thing. What is the key piece of information or group of information that persona of user wants to get out of your dashboard? Present them with that, with trend line information, and then start with that and build up from that. You're collecting the rich data set underneath, so you can always add it back in, but then just really strip it down for simplicity. That's where I would start, and I'd focus on user personas as a way of rationalizing your approach.
I think it's me next. Yeah, I think basically the points made before are very sensible around making sure you're only showing the data or you're only visualizing data which is relevant to a certain user. That might be that you've got a lot of data that you're showing to all users, and you need to segment those users and have specific views for specific user types. I mean, if you're able to get the feedback, it might be that there's just some of the data you're showing which isn't really that relevant to any users. So getting some feedback on that would be useful. I think the other thing as well is if you're really, if all the data you're showing is absolutely essential, just in different use cases and different frequencies, I mean, I think there's often a bit of often SaaS platforms jump towards having users land on dashboards because they are generally look pretty on the eye and look nice. But if it is the case that actually you're wanting your users to dive into a very quite specific piece of data and dive deeper into the analytics of those, having some navigation before you get to the dashboard itself would be helpful. So rather than showing that data from 15 different pillars on one dashboard, you have a little bit of navigation which takes people into dashboard which is or dashboard which has one specific topic, which might be user adoption or employee adoption in this case, or something like that, or specific to health benefits, whatever it may be, and then it's a bit more digestible for the user.
Am I next?
Yes, you are.
Cool. This is going to sound a little facetious, but like, there are people who specialize in this. They're called designers. I would get some professional help with this. Dashboards are particularly hard, and you're going to do better by having somebody do some proper user research and some proper design work on it than flailing around yourselves trying to make it better incrementally. I would just get some help.
Yes, and I also think that techies and software developers tend to over egg dashboards and want to show everything all at once because it's in their nature. And of course, the customer has their own views as to what they want to see, as everybody's just said. I think a couple of other things you could try, depending on your platform, is add a bit of flexibility in there so that the customer can tune what they see. So with, for example, a widget or something, so that they can show it, move it around, or hide it. And the other approach could be scale it back a little bit, a bit like the others said, add some navigation, but also you could add a bit of A/B testing, where in one case you're showing it in one way, and in another case you're showing it a different way, and ask your customer what they prefer or what it is that they find particularly difficult about what you've got at the moment. Dialogues are always useful, I think, in these cases.
Thank you very much. Is that all? Have we missed anyone? I think that's it, wasn't it? Perfect. Right, Joe, we've got 18 minutes to go. Hopefully, we can get in 2 more questions. Just a reminder to those of you on the live streams, whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter/X, we're unable to monitor your questions there live. So if you've got any questions in terms of needing help with your product or tech, and it can be anything to do with, early stage building, whether it's product roadmaps or prototypes or design or testing, full stack, tech debts, automation, AI, launching your MVP, and anything in between or beyond. There are no wrong questions and there's no need to be shy. You do, though, need to join us here on Microsoft Teams. It's audio only, which means you can tune in from anywhere via any platform or device. Quickest way to join us here is via our website, startup2scaleup.club. So again, it's startup2scaleup.club. You scroll down a little bit, you'll see today's session, which is Startup Product and Tech Q&A 175. Sorry, click join. It's a quick registration on Luma, and there you'll find today's link on Microsoft Teams. We've got a few more sessions, which you can see on the website there anyway. But for now, what we're going to do is go on to our next question, 3rd question for today. And she says, okay, building a marketplace that connects small UK-based retailers with customers seeking sustainable and locally produced goods. We're unsure whether to build our own marketplace infrastructure from scratch or use platforms like Shopify to get started quickly. What are the trade-offs in terms of customization, scalability, and ownership of customer data if we use a third-party e-commerce platform? Am I going to sound like a dictator if I say I can answer that? And yes, do not start building SHIT when you can get it done from somewhere else. Let's see a quick one from the team here. So who we got? We've got Tom, Adrian, Mary, Martin, and Redian. Any quick thoughts on this?
Yeah, I guess a quick thought for me would just be, I'm slightly unclear from the question whether this is actually like a 2-sided marketplace or if the founders are just going to be providing the supplier side of this marketplace themselves, in which case something like Shopify would be fine to get you off the ground. There are also similar solutions for 2-sided marketplaces which work pretty well, like ShareTribe. I mean, for the initial launch, definitely do that. Definitely get something which is maybe it's a bit more off the shelf in the long term, and then you can prove out the demand for this and kind of sort out a bit of your go-to-market. And then in the long term, yeah, get something built custom, which is going to serve your very specific needs, and give you that the ability to personalize and customize to meet your brand's needs. But yeah, in the short term, use off the shelf.
Yes, I agree with Tom. I think you've got to start quickly and check that the marketplace really is viable and that people want to buy and sell what you're thinking of in the way you're thinking of it, and make use of existing platforms. There are plenty out there. It'll save you a lot of time and effort. And then also, as Tom says, if it turns out there's a very niche thing that you're trying to accomplish that the platforms don't offer, that's when you could start creating your own platform off the back of some success.
Am I next? Anton, am I next? I'm going to assume I
Sorry,
am.
Mary. Sorry, Mary. Yes, you are. I'm trying to do things on the background as you
That's
guys
fine.
are dropping gold, so that's why it takes me a while.
All good. So I would agree with everybody. Start with Shopify or similar. You'll think of it as all of their engineers working for you. They're going to have such a richer set of features than you can build if you start from scratch. From just to speak specifically to the ownership of customer data, it doesn't cause you a problem in terms of ownership of customer data. You will still own that data. You just have to have in your T's and C's that it will also be processed by Shopify or whoever you use.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think I can add any more to the excellent advice already given. Always buy as opposed to build when it's a commoditized piece of solution, and this is so. Yeah, go Shopify, make your money, and then if you need to, build back. So yeah, great advice.
I think on last, as said previously by the other panelists, I concur. And I think, yes, test things out with existing tools and see how you can, how you can add value, maybe even do things better. And until then yeah, just use the existing tools. And if you believe that there could be opportunities in the future to create something unique and that could potentially be part of your IP, then go for it and maybe building something yourself. But until then, yeah, just use existing ones.
Thank you very much for that. We've got time, I think, for one more question, because then I don't want to let these lovely people go without some parting words. So, question 4. I'm one of 3 co-founders, used to be a project manager of an e-commerce startup. So, let me rephrase that. I'm one of 3 co-founders with a technical project manager background of a e-commerce startup in Bristol with a large and growing inventory database. Product search times are lagging, especially during high traffic. We're using MySQL and indexing hasn't yielded significant improvements. Are there alternative query optimization techniques or database configurations we should explore to handle these high query loads, especially for product search and filtering? Maybe we can start with Martin, Adrian, Redian, Mary, and last but not least, Tom. And let's try and keep it to a minute each if we can, please. Team, let's be concise.
I won't struggle there. I'm not a DBA expert. What I've seen in the past when we've had issues like this on databases is caching, increasing buffer pools, partitioning can add value. But yeah, I wouldn't claim to be an expert. So I'm sure there's other people on this call that will give you a better answer than that.
Thanks, Martin.
Yeah, similar to Martin, really. I mean, we have these problems with our own software as a service sometimes, and we've looked at various different solutions. Well, I mean, one of the best ways of solving this is to look at the logs or, the graphs, the sort of data metrics at the back of the system you're using. For example, if you're on Azure or Amazon Web Services or something, and try and understand what it is that's happening. You mentioned high traffic. Is it that you're not running it on a higher spec enough virtual machine? Are you running out of CPU? Are you running out of memory? Are you trying to make too many queries at once? So are you having a problem with the multiplexing? And really, you have to drill down. And we found this is that different problems arise through different scenarios, and as your customer base grows and the use grows, sometimes you outgrow the spec that you started with. And you can also do a lot of analysis on the search queries themselves and how effective they are, how much time they're taking with the sort of back-end analytics.
Here, Dan.
MySQL relational database. I mean, it can be optimized a lot from my understanding, what he's saying is that high traffic product search feature is getting slower. I would recommend, maybe what we've done in the past is we've looked at alternatives to create like a sort of an additional layer for that, specifically optimized for that searching ability. And we've used in the past Elasticsearch or Algolia as an additional layer. This obviously increases your sort of technical, not necessarily depth, but increases your things that you need to look after, because these additional layers, they require some synchronization capabilities to be in place, where you add, change, remove products from your products table in your MySQL database. You need to make sure that you update these indexes. They're very fast, super performant. They never have issues with any of these peaks of traffic or high volume traffic, especially for searching purposes. They're highly optimized for such use cases. You can do all sorts of clustering, multifaceted search, categorization, sorting, listing, like ordering, pagination, all of that out of the box. They could get a bit pricey, depending on your volume. But I guess you'd need to do some sort of cost and benefit exercise there to figure out if this is something that you can offload, let's say, to Algolia, which is a paid service, or you could potentially run your own Elasticsearch or OpenSearch instances in your own infrastructure. So yeah, I would recommend looking into these alternatives, depending on the size of the problem. If it's in the hundreds or thousands of queries, then possibly you might even optimize your own MySQL boxes for it. But otherwise, you could look into such services.
Thank you, Radian. Mary?
Yeah, I strongly echo what's been said. You can buy this. I would do Elasticsearch or OpenSearch. One of the managed instances on AWS is probably the easiest, so you don't have to take on DBA type work. Yeah, just get the most out of the available specialist search services that exist. You're going to need it eventually, so it's just about when you bite the bullet.
Thank you. I think last but not least, Tom, Mr. James.
Yeah, to be honest, nothing to add here from my side, so I'll let you catch the time up.
Thank you very much. We've now got 6 minutes to go, but probably not enough time to answer a question. So maybe some parting words, and for once, we can wrap up in about the hour. So we can start with Mary, and then Adrian, then Martin, then Radian, and last but not least, Tom. What are your parting words, especially since this is our last Q&A for 2025?
Remember to take some proper rest over the holiday period. It's really easy when you're doing a startup to be running all the time. But as the founders at Monzo used to say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And if you don't rest enough, then you're going to break down at some critical point in the journey. So make sure that you take the opportunity when loads of people are out the office anyway. Your customers probably don't want to talk to you over Christmas anyhow, depending on what your business is. But get some proper rest, and don't just do nothing. Do things that refill your cup.
Thank you for all your support so far, Mary.
Yeah, I was just add that I think, developing products and services is a really satisfying thing, particularly when you get it in the hands of customers. It's nice to see your work and your ideas being used for real, and you have to take on the chin the fact that not everybody likes what you do or finds it as straightforward as you think they should, but see that as part of the development journey, that you're getting the feedback, you're getting more users to use it, and the being happy customers as a result, and that should be your aim. So despite the frustrations, make the most of it and enjoy doing it as well. And have a good Christmas and take some rest, as Mary says.
Thank you for your support too, AJ.
Yeah, I super echo the get some rest point. It is a really intense thing to do, building companies from scratch, and as the founder, a lot of that pressure lands on their shoulders. But also just, you know, think about 2026, refresh and go again with focus and purpose. And that's where you get your success. Just stay focused and drive forward.
Thank you for your support too, Martin. Ready?
On my parting words, building great products is not easy. It's hard. It's challenging, and be prepared, be aware of it. Great products do not build in isolation. Speak to your users, stay close to them, and be honest of what's working and what's not working. And yeah, have those hard conversations early on with yourself and your founders, and try and reduce the cost of our mistakes, and especially in early stage, by having hard conversations quicker and making those hard decisions as quick as possible to minimize the cost, and keep shipping. Don't forget, nothing has to be perfect. Ship it, learn, iterate, and hopefully make it a great success. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone, and hope 2026 is going to be a better year than 2025.
Thank you for your support too, Ready. And last but not least, Tom, please.
Yeah, I think I probably echo what everyone said about making sure you get some rest. I think definitely kind of echo what Mary said around the fact that you can use this as an opportunity. Most of your clients probably don't want to hear from you during this time. But I think the slight kind of layer that I'll add on top of that is that obviously building a company is very hard and very intense for yourself, but can also be challenging and intense for your family who are around you and people who are supporting you on this journey of yours. So yeah, this is always a good opportunity, and I think I say this to my team as well, is that this is a really good opportunity to give back and give your full attention to your family and friends and loved ones. And so yeah, just make sure you take that opportunity, because when you get back from January, it might be busy and you might not get that opportunity again for a while. So yeah, definitely make the most of it.
Thank you for your support too, Tom. Huge thanks to everyone that tuned in today, especially our amazing panelists. Thank you for all you've done throughout these sessions this year. Absolute gold, and we really appreciate it. Thank you to those of you that tuned into the live streams, although we'd prefer you did that here on Microsoft Teams instead. Just a couple of things before my parting words. Just remember, one, as I said, we prefer for you to join us here on Microsoft Teams, and the quickest way to do that is to go onto our website and RSVP to any session that you want. That way you'll be able to then join and register via Luma. So you click on the session and then it takes you to Luma. You register there and you get the link to join us on Microsoft Teams. We run 6 regular sessions. Mondays it's talent, Tuesdays product and tech, Wednesdays growth, Thursdays fundraising, second Friday of each month it's UK Startup Law, and third Friday of each month it's UK Startup Finances. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. They're all available on our site, startuptoscaleup.club. Again, it's startuptoscaleup.club. You can click there and join us on any session you wish. Whilst you're there, You can also join our WhatsApp community. We've got some amazing groups of founders, investors, operators, and of course, our panelists. I've actually just put in the chat here a link to a WhatsApp group we have specifically for product and tech. As I said, this is our last session for product and tech. So the next one will now be on the 13th of January 2026. We've got a few more sessions to go this week. Tomorrow it's growth, Thursday it's fundraising, and Friday it's UK finances. That all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time, and I hope to see you there. Now, as far as my parting words are concerned, just remember the startup journey can be both exciting but also quite challenging. So try to have some fun in the meantime and be kind to yourself and everyone else for that matter too. Otherwise, to these amazing panelists that helped us today, thank you again. If you celebrate them, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Nonetheless, have a great end of 2025 and a brilliant start to 2026. And to everyone else, thank you. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for Startup Growth Q&A, and God bless.